What's up guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Dustin Benedict. I hope you are all having a wonderful day. There has been so many amazing cameras announced recently that I just wanted to take a second and kind of talk to you guys, interact with you and see what cameras you're excited about, what cameras you think are flops. And in doing that, what better way to do it than to sit down and have cameras and coffee. So what's up guys, like I said, I wanted to sit down and talk about all the different cameras that have come out. There's been some pretty big announcements recently. We had Sony announce the A7S Mark III. We had Canon come out with the R5 and the R6. And everybody knows, if you don't know now, you're living under a rock. But everybody has heard about the controversy with the R5 and the R6 overheating. But I've also seen a lot of videos on the A7S III where it looks phenomenal for video. I don't really know if that's going to be a great photography camera because of the lower megapixel count. But if you know that answer, answer down in the comments below. And really all this is me sitting down in my kitchen where I drink my cup of coffee in the morning and talking to you guys. So if you have some answers to some of the questions I have, drop them down in the comments below. If you've actually had hands-on experience with the R5, R6, A7S III, let's talk about it. But the first let's talk about Canon, because they came out with their stuff first, and then right afterwards Sony released the A7S III, which is, gosh, I think it's been like 5 years in the making on that camera. But I think it's kind of funny because for a long time now, everybody has been kind of talking about the cripple hammer and how Canon has crippled all their cameras, mirrorless cameras, DSLRs, to not cannibalize their cinema lines. And even when I made my first video about the RP, I talked about that. They took the 24 frames per second out of the camera. For some weird reason, I don't know, I don't understand that, I don't get it, but then they did the firmware update and put it back in the camera. But now, I think they finally started listening to people, and they put all this stuff, I mean just packed all this stuff into their cameras, in-body image stabilization, 8K footage in the R5, 4K 120 frames per second in the R5. Like, they went absolutely above and beyond and put all this stuff in their cameras. Well, now all of a sudden they start overheating. So it almost kind of makes me want to say, be careful what you wish for. So they gave us everything, they threw it all in there, and there's problems with it. So you gotta kind of take the good with the bad on that one, I think. Hopefully they'll do some firmware updates that will reduce that. And some of the videos that I've watched, the overheating is predictable, but the problem is once the camera overheats, getting it to cool down afterwards. So the periods of time that it takes for it to get the camera to actually cool down. So yeah, the R5 is insane. I think it's like $3,500 for the body. It does everything: 45 megapixel sensor, 8K video, 4K 120 frames per second. That camera is probably a camera that I will never buy, never need, especially for doing something like this. The R6, on the other hand, it actually looks pretty interesting. I like the fact that it has in-body image stabilization, 1080p at 120 frames per second, and it's kind of that mid-range price level there. To me, I would pick up the R6 right now over the R, maybe. I don't know, I kind of have this thing about buying something when it first comes out, which I waited a little bit on the RP, but I don't know, I kind of want to see if they can iron out some of the kinks that's going on right now before I spend any money on anything. But then there's Sony. So Sony comes out with the A7S III, and I've seen the videos on YouTube that this thing produces. It is like mind-blowing how good it looks. Their skin tones look great. I think they've really worked on their color science, and I've never shot with a Sony camera, and I'm not brand specific. I started with Nikon years ago when I started doing professional photography. I started with Nikon, and I used Nikon for a long time. But I wanted to start getting into video, and anybody who shot Nikon back in the day knows that Nikon's video just wasn't there at all. And then, this is pre-Z or Z or whatever you want to call it. So I switched over to Canon, so that way I could start shooting video and photography at the same time. I wanted to be able to do both. So I'm not brand specific. I really actually want to get my hands on a Sony camera and just play around with it, use it, see how I like it, see if it's something I would be interested in. But anyways, so the A7S III comes out. They've worked on their skin tones. The color science looks so much better than any of the other videos I've seen. The low light capabilities of this camera is insane. So I've watched Potato Jet or Gene, Matty Hapoya did a video with it, and there's several other people, but gosh man, the video footage out of this thing looks phenomenal. Sony has really hit it out of the park with that camera, and I would love to get my hands on one and shoot some video with it, but also test it for the photography side. So yeah, that camera looks phenomenal. I think Sony has an interesting thing where they have their R lineup, so their A7 III-R, I think it is, or A7R III, and that's kind of like their high-end photography camera with a higher megapixel count. Then they have their A7 IIIs, that's just kind of like your hybrid right there in the middle camera. And then they have their S line, which seems to be their cinema line, or more towards like video creation. I like that, but in the same instance, and I'm kind of one of those people that likes to be able to do both. So maybe I fall in line with the A7 III more than I would the R or the S line cameras. And I'm hoping that the A7 IV, when it comes out, is going to be just a packed full hybrid shooter camera, because that's what I do. I do both. And I think in an instance, that's kind of where Canon has their issue with their R series, their R5s and their R6s. They're trying to cater to both. I wish that they would have taken the R5 and just made it the best video camera that they could make, and the R6 be the best photography camera that they could make, and then let people choose between the two. Even though I'm a hybrid shooter, I feel like that's a lot of the issues that they're having with the overheating and stuff like that, is they're trying to cater to both. They're trying to make this hybrid camera, and I don't think that it's really working for them. But anyways, another camera that I'm really interested in getting my hands on is the Sony ZV-1. And I started out years ago, my first digital camera that I had was the Nikon Coolpix. If anybody ever owned one, tiny little, just fit in your pocket compact camera. And I used it not in any professional form or anything like that, but I had a lot of fun with that camera. We used to take it on vacations, trips, all over the place, and I would just pull it out of my pocket, snap pictures with it. And the ZV-1, for its size and price, looks really, really interesting to me. I think it would be a great camera to vlog with, to start a YouTube channel with, to be able to do travel video and photography with. So I'm thinking about getting my hands on a ZV-1 and doing a review on a ZV-1. If that's something that you're interested in, please comment down below and let me know. And if there's any other cameras that you're interested in me reviewing, or any type of content that you guys want to see. I know a lot of what I've done so far is just kind of sit in front of this camera and talk to you guys, but I want to get a dialogue going. I want to hear from you guys, the subscribers that I do have, and I just kind of want to open the conversation. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Coffee is so good. That's it, guys. There's a lot of other cameras out there that I think are really amazing and really interesting. I would also love to get my hands on the Z series, Nikon Z series cameras. They just came out with the Z5, there's the Z6 and the Z7 and the Z50. I'd love to get my hands on those. I think that they are great cameras. I played with one at Best Buy one time. It looks really, really good. And I think Nikon is really underrated. And I'm afraid that before too long, they're really not gonna make it. But anyways, thank you guys so much. If you watched this video, if you made it this far and listened to all of my rambling, then just take a second and go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, turn on bell notifications. I've said this many times before, but I really am going to try to start putting out a video every week. And if you guys want, I'm going to try to start getting my hands on some other cameras and showing you some different things and reviews on other cameras. Next video that I'm going to try to work on, just a little spoiler alert, if you've made it this far, is going to be what cameras I think are best for starting photographers and videographers. So anyways, like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have an amazing day, an amazing week. Be safe, and I'll see you in the next video.